Today's best music.
Magic 89.9.
And the elections are coming up. So that that puts a different spin to it, right?
It's really interesting. Like people and I don't blame them because this is how I think of DC, thought of DC before I lived here. But DC, it's not a huge city. We're probably, by the standards of most places, we're probably 700,000 people. So yes, it's big, but it's also a very packed city. And so I personally live probably 2 miles from the White House. What is that? In kilometers.
Wow.
Not that far. It's not that far, but my neighborhood feels so removed. And so DC isn't really just all we're all thinking about politics all the time.
And this is why I wanted to ask you, because again, it's different from a Filipino standpoint. It's different from your standpoint. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, but it is very present. And I think, I have a lot of friends who work in government now in politics, and it's every time there's a new president, every time there's a new administration, the whole vibe changes. But at the end of the day, DC is a very progressive, liberal city. And so you see very clearly when something is happening on the side of liberals and progressives, it's very, very obvious here. The protests were enormous here. The Target down the street had to board up its windows because they were afraid of whatever. But it was also a very open place, and I think when all of that happened, it was interesting because those protests were really big here, but everybody had their masks on. It's a really interesting space to be operating in. I was telling you guys before the show that DC's we started phase 2 in June, phase 2 reopening. So a lot of there are a bunch of bars that are open.
And you were the first one there.
I haven't been anywhere but the grocery store. I have to go to the grocery store once in a while, and the liquor store also. But the masks are pretty they're on. People are wearing them. People get it. There's not as much within the city. I don't think there's as much arguing about what you should and shouldn't do. And so actually our cases are pretty low and they were up in March and April the way they were everywhere, but they've been pretty low. I think the anxiety is for places like me I was talking about where people don't believe that this is something that they need to do.
Right.
It's been interesting to watch how that's evolved in different places and in different cities. But here, personally, I think people are pretty aware about what they can do.
Yeah, I asked that.
Most of my friends have been just at home.